Welcome back to the Leveling Up Podcast, everyone. Today is a very special day. We're talking about story hustling. Now, if you're thinking, how do I make money by creating digital products, by creating books, by creating podcasts, all these different ideas, we're going to be talking about how to create side hustles. Whether you want to leave your job or not is irrelevant. You have a story within you and you have amazing experiences that can pay dividends if you are willing to pay those lessons forward. And today we're going to get into that. I've got my new friend, Bart Merrell. He is an expert when it comes to not only identifying side hustles, but being able to help people really monetize their ideas, their methods, their concepts. And I'm really excited to have him on today. Bart, welcome to the Leveling Up Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's dive first into your story, your background. Tell us a little bit about how you discovered that you can make money in dozens of different ways, because it sounds like this is such a part of who you are that people just need to know how you process things. Go ahead.
Well, it wasn't on purpose. It was kind of by accident. I wanted to be an FBI agent and chase serial killers.
Oh,
And that didn't happen. I had RK surgery, corrective vision on my eyes. Before I applied to the FBI, I found out later that automatically disqualified me, even though it worked perfectly. I didn't have glasses from age 23-ish to 52-ish. But when I found out that automatically disqualified me from the FBI, I was devastated because that was my dream job. That's what I wanted to do. And I was at school just trying to figure things out. I graduated in accounting with minors in Japanese and Spanish, trying to figure things out, doing my part-time job that I had at school, which was landscaping. For at that time in the world, it was about $5 an hour, maybe $6 an hour. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And I fell back on the example that my dad taught me. He was a pig farmer down in southern New Mexico, but he wasn't just a pig farmer. He was a businessman. He had his hands in many different operations in the agricultural industry. He owned part of a dairy farm in Idaho, part of a mushroom warehouse in Utah, part of a produce warehouse in Phoenix, Arizona. And so that's just a handful of the stuff he did. He had many other things that he did. And he never really set me down and taught me the birds and the bees of business. He just showed me by example. And then when I started doing things, even before college, he would always encourage me, no matter whether it was fundraising for the FBI, not for the FBI, fundraising for the FFA, right, or doing my very first side hustle was when I was 15. I started a mobile disco business, spinning records and having a good time. And he encouraged me and helped me along the way. And so that's kind of how it started. Then, when I had my FBI blow up, I was up at Utah State. I'd finished my schooling, and a buddy of mine who worked for the bungee jump company up there said, "Hey, do you want to go back to Japan?" And he jokingly said it, and I seriously thought about it a second and said yes. And 3 months later, I was in Japan pushing little Japanese people off the top of bungee towers. And that's kind of how it started.
That's exactly how it starts. You see what it is that you're passionate about, and then you say, how can I monetize this? What is it that other people will pay for? Because that's one of the ways that you test your ideas is, do people actually want this? Will they buy it? And will they use what it is that I'm creating? So one of the things that I think would be really interesting for our listeners is understanding not just, hey, how do we go from interesting ideas or things that you like doing that might be able to make money to someone saying, this is my calling. I'm going to make this valuable for others and actually implement those ideas. Where do you take people from ideation to implementation?
Yeah, that's a good question. So for me, it comes naturally. Anything that crosses my path, good, bad, or ugly, I always ask the question, can I monetize it?
Hmm.
And I don't monetize everything, but I always am asking the question. And so to help people do the same thing I do, I take them through a process where we ask simple questions. What do you like to do? What do you need to do? What are you already doing? Make lists of each one of those, and then we'll refine them down later. Don't think about, can I monetize this yet? Just make the list. Then we'll go through the lists and refine them to where by the time we're done, you have one or two, three, a handful of ideas that pop up that you probably should try first.
Hmm.
And once we get those, then you take the idea and you say, okay, it's going to take this amount of resources, time, money, effort to get this. Do I want to give up this? Because you're going to have to give up something to
Right.
get what it is you want in your side hustle. Let me give you some examples real quick. What do you like to
Sure.
do?
Me,
Well,
I love storytelling. I absolutely love helping coach different people and mentor them. I feel like anything that I can do with Mandarin Chinese is fun because I speak Mandarin. And
Yeah,
one of my first side hustles was teaching Mandarin Chinese to dual immersion students. And I did that for almost 10 years while I was teaching for 7 years in high school. So before that, I was just taking on a student here and there. And that was a nice little
yeah,
side income.
yeah, and that's a perfect example of something you already have. If same thing with me, I speak Japanese. If I wanted to, I could teach Japanese.
Mhm.
I don't. It's not a side hustle of mine,
Right.
but it's something that I could do if I wanted to do that. But my first one was the DJ, the mobile disco business. I bought my first stereo at age 11. I loved music,
Mm.
listening to music. And when I got that first stereo, I didn't realize that I just bought me a liability.
He-
And I would, every time I'd have to go to town, I'd have to get the new tunes. And back then, it wasn't just buying one song. You had to purchase a whole cassette or a whole album, or you had to buy the bad songs with the two good songs you liked. And so it was expensive, especially for an 11-year-old kid. When I got my driver's license at age 15, that's when I decided I can turn this into something that makes money because I
Mhm.
like to do it. But in my town, my small town in southern New Mexico, nobody was hiring 15-year-old DJs.
No.
So I had to start my own opportunity. I rented the community center, hired an off duty cop for security. Mom and dad took money at the door. I spun records. Everybody danced, had a good time after the football game on a Friday night or a Saturday night basketball game, whatever. Or maybe there was nothing and I just people needed a place to go. And I made $600-700 a night doing something that I loved to do as a kid. And so
That's a
that was
beautiful example.
that was my first one. And it's something I like to do.
Mhm.
Now we're going to go to something I need to do that's pretty funny. Just I found out October of 2023 that I was going to have my left leg amputated.
Yeah, I remember
And,
talking about that. That's not fun.
and when I found that out, after the shock and awe was over, I
Mhm.
said, okay, I don't like this. It's got to happen, but it's going to happen, and I need to figure out how to monetize it. 6 months post-op, I contracted with my prosthetist to help other people go through what it is that I have to go through. And the conversation kind of went like this. He didn't come to me and ask me. I said, Scott, when I was interviewing other prosthetists, your competition had a guy that I could talk to and ask questions. Because imagine when you're going to get your leg cut off, you have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
How bad's it going to hurt? How long is it going to take to heal? All this good stuff. And I said, Scott, you don't have a guy. I'm your guy. And from that, we started a negotiation and we came up with a price. I am on retainer because I told him, I said, Scott, I don't want a job. You send me the numbers I need to call, and I'll call and make the, connection and answer questions, meet with them, go to the hospital after their surgery, help them. Whatever it is you need me to do, I will do it to help them.
Hmm.
We've been doing that for, it's over a year now, off of something that I needed to do. I didn't want to get my leg cut off, and I wouldn't advise it to your listeners to go chopping off body parts to start a side hustle. But
Right.
if
That's
you
not the best
have
weight
to,
loss program, right? It's maybe the fastest weight loss program, but not
it,
the best one.
it's pretty fast, except they put on a heavier leg once you
Oh,
get healed up. So my leg is heavier than it was before.
all right.
But thinking that way is what people need to start to do.
Hmm.
Now let's talk about, what are you already doing?
Yeah.
I got into an Uber several years ago. My driver was Megan. I said, Megan, how's Uber treating you today? She says, oh, I just do this to and from work. She was a nurse at the U of U hospital in Salt Lake City, but she lived in a place called Payson, Utah, about an hour away. And she would have to drive back and forth, and she would pick someone up when she's headed into Salt Lake and pick someone up when she's headed home. She'd make an extra $60, $70 a day on something she was already doing.
Hmm.
And it did two things: made her the extra money. She could use the HOV lane if there was a traffic jam. I was like,
Beautiful.
Megan, that is brilliant. Can I share your story? She said, sure. So thinking like that is what I try and help people do.
Hmm. This is a great way to think about unutilized assets that you already have. I
Exactly.
often talk about idle assets. One of those that people often don't think about are alternate dwelling units in their home or in a cabin or something they haven't monetized yet.
Yep.
I utilize Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com to get a lot of traction with a lot of those properties that I have control of. And what that does for me is that makes it so that those don't sit idle. They don't
Yep.
just, they're not just pretty buildings, but they actually create revenue. You can do the same thing with your story. You can do the same thing with experience that you have or knowledge. If you can package it in such a way that it is meaningful for somebody else and that can either build income, influence, or impact, yeah, that is definitely something that you can monetize. So let's talk about this. I love hearing how these stories have started to create this mindset of, can I monetize it? How can I monetize this? What is some of the ways that you can help people recognize opportunity so that wherever it is that they're already putting out that effort, they can kind of double dip? Like you said, that lady was going back and forth from work. You just have to start getting on Uber or Lyft, and now she makes the extra 70, $80 a day.
Yeah.
How do they
And
recognize those opportunities? Go ahead.
like you with a dwelling, I bought my first house just out of college,
Mhm.
and I was single. I took the room that I liked, the best room, obviously, and I rented out the other. And
House hacking. There you go.
it paid for my mortgage and then some. Then when I got married, I rented out the basement. We lived upstairs. Then when I moved to my current house, I purposely looked for a house with an accessory apartment. My renter moved with me to my new house.
That's awesome.
I've never owned a house where at least half the mortgage wasn't paid by someone else.
Mm.
So just thinking like that. So how do we get people thinking like that? Um, I take them down that process that I'm telling you about. We make a list, and I don't go in there with any agenda. I'm not trying to get them to join my network marketing company or sell my products. I'm just trying to get into their life, get them thinking, and all I do is start the wheels turning.
Mhm.
I was working with a bus driver, and she wanted to do a party bus. So she wanted to buy her own bus and do a party bus to and from jazz games, hockey games, events. So
Mhm.
people wouldn't have to think about, parking or worry about drinking or anything like that. And I says, okay, I know you have your idea already, but trust my process and let's do this. So I had her started making her list, and I said, okay, continue making your list. We'll meet next week and we'll see what you come up with. She called me 2 days later. I am so mad at you. Like, what did I do? I woke up at 3 o'clock yesterday morning and I couldn't go back to sleep. You know, I have to get on the bus by 6 o'clock. I'm just like, okay, why is that my fault? Well, I figured out that if I go and take a test at the head DNV office in Salt Lake City, I could be the driver's test person for other people trying to get their commercial driver's license. And she's like, I don't even have to advertise, because when they go in and take their written test, the DNV hands them a list of all the people qualified to give the driving test, and people will just choose her if she's the closest one.
Hmm.
And I'm like, that's genius. Why didn't you think of that before? Well, I didn't think I was going to have a bus. And here's the deal. They didn't even do the party bus. They bought a dump truck instead to do landscaping work, or excavation work, I guess is what I should call it. But she still has the vehicle to give the driving test.
Hmm.
I didn't think of that. She did.
That's beautiful.
And
I
so I
think
don't I
this
don't
go
tell
ahead.
them what to do. I just let their ideas pull up, and it helps them start to recognize everything that they can't see because it's too close to them.
Hmm. This is something that I wanted to bring up as well. A lot of great mentors, they don't superimpose their ideas on others. They say, let's peel back some layers, almost like an onion, and figure out what's on the inside. What are your true core principles, your values, and let's see if we can monetize those. Let's see if we can find the things that you care about significantly and then put those into action. They're not trying to say, oh, you're an onion, but we're going to do our best to make sure you look like an orange. Like, those are drastically different things, and they're not going to
Exactly.
go in the same type of meal. It's going to be awful. But if you're like, I'm an onion, and this is going to be the way I can make a French onion soup or something with whatever it is that you do, now you're living in purpose, on purpose, and it can start to impact other people positively. I love this mentality. How do you help people find their calling? Because there's one thing with saying, hey, I can make money at this. It's another to say, I can make money at this and it's aligned with my values, with what I feel like I want to do. How do you help them make that distinction? Because a lot of people get struggling. I even did at the beginning. Hey, I just want to make money because that's where I'm going to go do it. And it's all about real estate. And then I realized I don't super love real estate. I love writing stories. I love helping people pull stories out of them and mentoring them to be more effective communicators. But you have to be in alignment. Otherwise, there's some point where it gets too hard and you stop. So how do you help people find that alignment?
So a lot of it's trial and error, but I
Mhm.
tell them things first. So a lot of people say, "Oh, I wish I was Jeff Bezos, or I wish I was Mark Cuban, or I wish I was Elon Musk." And I just kind of look at them and said, "Do you know what they did to get where they are? And not that they did anything bad, but Mark Cuban slept on other people's couches even after he made it big for a while. Elon Musk still stays at the office most of the time. Is that the lifestyle you want? If it is,
Yeah.
go for it. If it's not, it's like you got to give up this to get this. Do you want this lifestyle?
Mm.
Quick example: there is a Japanese restaurant that I love in Japan. It's a chain restaurant. It's called Koko Ichiban Curry.
Mm.
The first place I go when I land in Japan, and it's the last place I go as before I leave. I thought, oh man! And if you go to like the ones by the army bases on a Friday or Saturday night, you think you're in America because all the Americans, the GIs, love this place as well. So I knew it would work. I got to bring this to America. I had a friend in Japan that would give me the money. And the conversation was something like, if we make money, we split it. If you don't make any money, we lose the money. It's okay. Don't worry about it. So it was free money. We're talking $300,000-$400,000.
Wow.
And I'm just like, okay, awesome. I got back to America. I started doing my research. And I said, well, I don't want to work that hard. I like to eat the curry. I
Mm.
don't know that I want to make it every day or even oversee the making of it every day. And so I said, no. I said, I can't take your money because I don't want to do this. I gave up free money to get something started, but I didn't feel like I wanted to work that hard. And so I let it go. And so as people are thinking and doing their research, I mean, you don't just jump into something. You have to do your research so that you can make an educated decision.
Mm.
And as you're doing that, you're going to see, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. Is it something that I want to do?
This is so important. I talk about this idea of a core desire in my book, The Story Hook Method. Just recently came out. Guys, you definitely want to check this out. But a core desire is something that you want at a scale of 0 to 100. It's a 100. You want it more than anything. Most things are not core desires. There's very few core desires that we have in life. We usually have about 4, 1 or 2 in our personal life, 1 in our professional, 1 in our health and vitality, and 1 in our community. All of these core desires that we have will impact how aligned the actions we take are. So if we're talking about side hustles, this is a very simple way to look and assess how these side hustle ideas will either be implemented or not. You can say, on a scale of 1 to 100, how badly do I want this? How badly do I want to accomplish X, Y, or Z? And is it worth it for me? Am I going to do the work because it is the thing I want more than anything? Or is it like, that's a 60 on the scale of 100? Probably not a good business to start if you hit 61 on the frustration and difficulty level and you're like, I'm tapping out.
I I agree with what you're saying,
Mhm.
but I want to caution people to not overlook the things that they need to do,
Ooh, this is good. Talk to
because
us more about this.
often there is something you don't want to do, something you don't like,
Mhm.
but it's still there on the table. Why not make money doing it?
Yeah.
We're talking about a side thing. I mean, I have side gigs that I don't necessarily like or I don't necessarily promote, but when I'm doing so, I my wife several years ago, she came into me and she's just like, I'm getting a little more than I bargained for. I would like to see a little less of you. Meaning,
That's so
me
great.
meaning your before picture is good enough. Let's start working on that after picture. Now, when I decided that okay, I do need to lose some weight, I'm not being healthy. I thought, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to monetize it. I'm going to get paid to do it.
Mm.
I said, oh, she wants me to get back to my wedding weight, basically, because she wants what she bargained for when she got married. I went to GoDaddy. I typed in back to my weddingweight.com. It was available. I bought it. I didn't
Nice.
even know how I was going to do this. 7 years later, I finally found the program that worked for me. And I just, I said, okay. And it's a 10-day cleanse. And my friend Beth from California, she called me, Bart, you got to try this. It's amazing. You'll love it. And if you don't love it, you'll get your money back. And I'm just like, Beth, what is it? It's the 10-day celebrity transformation cleanse. And I'm like, Beth, I want to do a 10-day cleanse like I want a colonoscopy, and that's not very bad. She bugged me. And bless her heart, she kept bugging me and bugging me. I finally tried it. I lost 18 and a half pounds in 10 days. And I was, wow. So I did another one. I lost another 11 pounds. So in less than 30 days, I had lost almost 30 pounds. I did 2 more in 2 months and 5 days. I had done 4, and I lost 50 pounds, got back to my wedding weight, and I was turned that back to my weightingweight.com into a stream of income.
Cool.
But right now it doesn't do anything for me because I'm not promoting it. But I tell you what, it's about time to do some maintenance because my gut is getting a little big. And if I'm drinking my drink and talking about it on Facebook, it's still an income stream to me.
Mm,
But I don't like to do it. I don't enjoy my cleanse. I enjoy the outcome, but I don't enjoy the process. And so it's not something I market all the time. But when I do a cleanse, when I do my maintenance cleanse, anytime I'm drinking, it's $50 to $1,000 a month off of something that I need to do. Not that I enjoy it, I need to do it
mm.
for my health.
That's
And so
fascinating. Yeah.
it's not a main source of side hustle, but it is a side hustle that if I'm going to do it, I say, okay, when life gives you lemons, everybody says make lemonade. I say, well, if you're making lemonade, you might as well build a lemonade stand and sell the stuff.
Yeah. There you go.
And
When
so
life
that's
gives
what I
you
want to
lemons, sell the
caution
lemonade.
people.
What was that?
That's what I want to caution people on. You don't need to be 100 if it's just an on the side hustle.
Mm,
If it is your main gig, if you're going to make this your main thing, you better dang well like it. But and I've never done the 9 to 5 thing, but you have people who are doing the 9 to 5 that don't like their job.
mm,
And so is it if you are in your job and you don't really like it and you like XYZ more than you like your job, then maybe you should do XYZ to a point to where you could maybe get rid of your job.
beautiful. Let's go here for just a minute. One of the things that I have been focusing on a lot this year is developing intellectual property and being able to monetize it. So I just had my book come out, The Story Hook Method. I have been connecting and helping other people develop their intellectual property. I had 5 of my students actually get published with me in this Heal to be Healed series. And what this does is it allows people to not just have a tangible asset that they can sell, but it allows them to say, hey, I did this thing, and it builds credibility as well. So, whenever you're talking about a side hustle, what are some of the secondary gains that come from having that side hustle? You're like, hey, I do this, and then other benefits come because of that. What are some of those secondary gains? Meaning, when you do that, you either get on stages, you get into places that you wouldn't, you have access to stuff that you normally wouldn't, or it helps feed other businesses. Talk to me about the mentality behind doing this, because some people, they don't have that motivation for money, but there are other motivations with having a side hustle. So talk to us about those.
So I also have a book. It's called Monetize Your Mindset. And I wrote it for exactly what you're saying, the credibility, back of the stage sales, if
Mm.
you're speaking. Um, and it's kind of funny. What did I ask one of my AIs? I asked them something about, do you know my book, Monetize? Do you know about my book that I wrote? And they said, yes, that's something that you very much underutilize. You should utilize it more. And it's one of those things that when we have something, we need to share it. And we have so many methods to share nowadays,
Mm.
that so many vehicles that we can get our message out there. If you have a book, it's going to help you. I do dog training. So that's one of my side hustles. I train dogs because I adopted a 9-month-old or an 8-month-old Rottweiler that was 90 pounds and didn't know the word no.
Ooh.
I kept calling my buddy, hey, Sean, he's a trainer. And I said, hey, Sean, how do you do this? Sean, Rex is doing this. Sean. And finally, Sean said, Bart, we're doing a train the trainer program next month. You should come and learn how to train your dog. And so I went to train my dog. Once again, if I'm going to train my dog, I'm going to get paid to train other people's dogs.
Mm.
There's so many in this dog training industry, there's so many things that I could branch off and do. An online course, a product. I could create a product that goes around my brand.
Mhm.
You know, I'm Top Dog dog training, so I could create a product about Top Dog. But there's already a Top Dog, so I'd have to figure out how to do that. There's already a Top Dog brand, but I can do Top Dog dog training brand and sell leashes or sell. There's so many things you could
Mhm.
branch off on the different side hustles you create. When it comes to intellectual property and stuff like that, here's one that I've started that I haven't monetized yet, but I love doing it. It's still in the music world.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've played with Suno or not,
I haven't.
but Suno is a music AI that you tell it your feelings and it can create songs for you.
Crazy. Okay.
And I've created lots of I listen to my Suno playlist more than I listen to anything else if it's music. How
Hmm.
do I monetize that? I have not figured it out yet.
You want an idea, Bart? I have a friend that I was speaking with that does that.
Does what?
She does custom songs for people. Says, "Oh, you have an event coming up. What's the type of ideas that you have there?" She's like, "Oh, this is the type of feeling you want." And then she'll go and she'll utilize AI and have a basic outline, and then she takes that and creates a song because she's a guitar player. I was like, "That's pretty amazing." Where she makes a custom song for an event or for a person. There's
Yeah.
diverse ways you could do it. I keep getting these cute things about custom songs that are like romantic songs for your wife. I see those
Yeah.
online. You could do
Yeah.
something
I've
like
seen
that.
those.
Hey, I'm gonna make a custom song for you. It's only $1,000, and I'm gonna make sure that you have it on these streaming platforms. It'll be really easy for you. It'll be utilized with AI, but it's gonna be customized to you. Tons of ways you could do
And
that. That's cool.
and so I have what I've done so far is I've created some personas.
Mhm.
One is Jacksonville and the other one is Mason Kane. And I am creating an album for each one of these guys.
Wow.
I so on my Facebook, if anyone wants to go look it up, if you scroll, you're going to see me in a cowboy hat and a cowboy shirt. I am singing a song that I created in Suno. But you're going to see a 1997 guy, me from back in 1997, from a picture, a portrait that I had taken, and it's me sitting down. I took it into Gemini. I said, Gemini, put me behind a mic on a stage. And then I took it into another AI and I had them make me sing my song.
AI is pretty amazing.
And so the idea that I'm working with is to get these personas to sing their music. I have pictures of both of them to sing their music in a music video. I've created a couple, but and then I'm wondering if I can sell my lyrics, sell my song to live artists to play.
There you go.
I mean, so this is what I do. I just think about ways to, and I've done for free for birthdays, sent people songs that I've created for their birthday just for fun. But so the idea of creating songs for people for a profit is good. The problem is Sudo is so easy to use.
Yeah.
And you can use it for free. You don't get their top tier, but you can use it for free
Hmm.
and still create your own songs. Anyway, that was just a little tangent of kind of how my mind works. Something I'm already doing, something
Mhm.
that I enjoy, and how can I turn that into a stream of income?
That's excellent. One of the things I love to ask my guests is when you are packaging a story where you're putting intellectual property out there, ideas, if you run it through this framework, you can do it on the fly. You can share an experience that you maybe not have put a lot of thought into, or you've put a ton of thought into, But if you put it in this type of a package, it makes it really easy to make it monetizable. So what I focus on in my story hook method is this specific element. It's called story. Significant is what has to be there for my audience to get value. The T is to translate it. How do I make it meaningful for them? How do I use examples that they get? And then the objective. What are we trying to accomplish by sharing this? Because a lot of people will share a story and then they'll apologize immediately afterwards because there was no point to it. And then as far as reliving, this is how do I make it vivid? How do I use all of my senses, all 5 of those senses to bring the story to life? And then after you've shared your story, you wrap it with a yes. What is the clear, concise call to action that someone will do based on the story that you shared? This is, in essence, how a story hustle can actually create money. Is what are they going to do? Is that going to opt into your email list? Is that going to buy a book? Is that going to be, hey, come to this course, come to this event? The call to action can shift, but that story, if you created real value and you built that distance from their pain that they have to the pleasure that they want, they'll make that transformational and take the step. So what are your thoughts on this specific concept and how you can use it?
I tell people all the time that they need to focus on the benefits.
Mm,
And so with this method here, it's specific, and it's going to get you, when you get to the yes, you've focused on the benefits, not the features.
right.
You may have some features in your story, but the benefits of what you're focused on when you get to that yes is what people need to focus on to get people to buy. Um,
Beautiful.
I'll just give you a quick example of uh, a yard guy, a landscaper.
Mhm.
What is he giving people? A pretty yard, some people say. Well, yeah, that's true.
Their time
But
back.
he's giving them their weekend back so they can watch football. They can be the king of their castle. They can do the things that they want to do instead of mowing the lawn, and it still looks nice. That's what they're doing.
Mhm.
And so you need to, it's the benefits that people need to focus on, which is at your story method takes people step by step by step by step, pointing out the benefits, and then by the time you get to the yes, they have got it.
Mm, beautiful. Very simple and concise. Now, guys, let's hear from Bart really quick. Why do you feel like this episode is so helpful for speakers, for people that want to get their story out there, create intellectual property, and create this mindset of how do I monetize this?
Because we all have life experiences, whether it's whether it's me getting my leg cut off, whether it's weight loss, whether it's, I'm trying to think, a friend of mine, she is a grief therapist,
Mm,
a grief counselor, not because she wanted to be, because it was a life experience. Her son died when he was a teenager. My prosthetist told me that I needed a grief counselor to say goodbye to my leg, my foot. She was my grief counselor. She helped me through, and it was kind of weird. I have to say, it was kind of weird saying goodbye to your leg and kissing your leg goodbye. But she is there because of her experience.
mm,
I am here because of my experiences. Everybody has experiences that they can monetize if they just share. You got to be willing to share.
excellent. Thank you so much. I absolutely agree. So if you want to get the a maximum amount of value from here, you got to go all the way back to the beginning and watch this, guys. Here is the quote that I want to leave everyone on. Your stories pay you back when you pay the wisdom forward. What I mean by that is when you take the time to not just document your experiences, but you package them in such a way that it is meaningful for somebody else and they can do something with it, you can make more impact. That's why I wrote the story hook method. That's why I'm so passionate about helping other people pull out and extract those meaningful moments, those concepts, the patterns that they've experienced so that other people can benefit too. Think about any business. If they didn't have specific systems and patterns, you would not trust that business. A speaker and a storyteller is the same thing. If you can help people recognize those patterns, recreate them for themselves, and then eventually be able to create their own, that empowers them to make progress. So your stories pay you back when you pay the wisdom forward. Bart, thank you so much. Where can people go to find a little bit more about you and to connect with you deeper?
So I have a free gift that is the 1K blind spot assessment. You can get that at youridealsidehustle.com. And within 10 minutes, it's going to tell you what you're good at, which you probably already know. The big thing is it's going to tell you the blind spots that you may need to take a look at and focus on fixing.
Beautiful. I love it. Guys, go there. That blind spot assessment. This is why we need mentors and coaches, because the thing is about blind spots is we don't see them. So go check out Bart. He's awesome. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. Once again, thank everyone for listening all the way to the end here. Come back next week for Leveling Up Podcast, and God bless. We'll see you next time.